Welcome to Rick's Corner, brought to you by Old School Labs, the brand I trust and the only one I put my name to. Use my code drasin12 on the link below.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. The man, the myth, the legend. Now on with the show.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. Today I have a very big surprise for all of you because normally I have people from all walks of life, which I do, but today I've got the Chippendales dancers of what, the 80s?
80s, yes.
80s and 90s.
80s and 90s.
We're old guys here, boy.
Don't make us that old, Rick.
I got all the I've got all this testosterone around me, so and then we have.
How's it feel? You feeling it?
I think I am.
Energy?
I think my muscles are growing. So I've got Doug here, Dan, Robbie, right here, and Neil. And we're going to have a little stories from them about back in the day when they were dancing for all these women and stuffing money down their pouches and some of the things that had happened to them over the time. But in order to become a dancer like that, number one, you had to dance. Number two, you had to be in shape and you had to be good looking. So these guys have it all, and that's what it took, right?
Right.
Who would like to tell us a story first, Neil?
Yeah, well, what do you want to start with?
I mean to put you on the spot, but I mean, what in the world got you into doing something like that?
Well, when I came here from New York, I was working in a phone company,
Yeah.
and I was selling long distance services.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
What kind of work do you do in the phone booth?
Those days I had phone booths. No, it was actually a telemarketing place. It was a telemarketing place.
Okay, I got you. Go ahead.
So I started doing hot body contests at the Red Onion. So when I beat one of the Chippendale guys, he goes, "What are you doing?" "I'm working in a phone room selling long distance services." "Well, I can get you a job. You making a lot more money and doing a lot more stuff." So I said, "Okay, yeah." So the rest was history after that.
What'd you have to do to qualify?
Well, they put you on stage and to see the reaction of the girls first, and if you didn't get any good reaction, I guess you didn't do a good job. But most of the Chippendale look was dark, handsome, light eyes, stuff like that they were looking for.
Were you nervous?
Of course, yeah. In the beginning, but then after that,
Oh, that's normal though. That's normal.
Then after that, it was natural to me.
It's the same thing, and I think Dan mentioned something about, or one of you guys did, about wrestling, because they would. Oh, you did. Okay, they would test you out on an opening match, a dark match, and if you had it, good. If you didn't have it, they knew by the audience that they weren't going to use you. Same principle.
Yeah, it's the je ne sais quoi. It's like you step out there and see who reacts, and if they like you, like you're in, you could do this.
Right. Exactly.
It was a unique lineup at Chippendales, though, because you came out as a host, right? Is that how they did it the first time? I mean, when they wanted to see how you did?
Right. Steve Banerjee was basically, he would say, how do the girls react. That was his thing.
It was. Yeah. And they'd introduce guys one at a time, the hosts and the waiters. One at a time, they give you a little blurb about the guy. You'd walk out on stage and the girls would do their thing. And that is true. That's how he
And you would watch. You'd sit back there and watch. And if you got, the everyone's going crazy, you eventually could work your way into the show. I mean, that's how I started. Right. I started as a host. Actually, we were chatting before in Pulsations in Philadelphia. Yeah, the Richard Bay show. They had a contest when they were doing the show for Pulsations, and they were looking for a host. So I went on the show and got picked and became the MC. Traveled the world, all across the country. So it's it's a bond between all of us. We know what it's like.
Going to wars.
We've been all over the world.
Did you have acting experience at that time?
Just starting. I mean, I think all of us, we all had those dreams of being an actor, and it was just a great way to get out there and get in front of people and just see what you got.
Hosting takes a talent. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. And I was laying in bed last night thinking about something came to my head. Back in the 70s, I hosted and emceed a bodybuilding contest on Sunset Boulevard, and I completely forgot about it. I never remembered it until last night. This was the first time, and I think that was the first time I ever did anything. And I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, well, it's trial by fire. You get up there, and it's a great kind of format because the women are there to, have a good time. They want to smile, they want to laugh, they want to be entertained, and just to be in front of that audience and to feel the vibe. When you're on, on days when it works, the energy
fires you up.
You can make it work. You can fire it, and just you hone your craft as far
and you
as
have to learn quick.
Yeah, really quick.
Dan, how'd you get into it?
I had just finished school in Santa Barbara and came down there because a bunch of the girls had just come back and said, you got to go down here. There's 400 women and 10 guys. And so I went with a buddy of mine.
Yeah, okay.
Good ratio.
Yeah, exactly. So I just went down with a friend of mine, and the owner's brother, Shubo, was there, pulled me out of line. I thought, I drove all the way down here. I'm not wearing the right thing like today. And I thought they were kicking me out of, me out of club.
I'm all right.
And the owner, he brought me over to Banerjee. And Banerjee didn't say a word, just shook his head, and that was it. And they said, you want to work here? I did not know what it was. So I didn't know that it was a club, dance club, or anything about it. I just thought it was a club where the girls are. And that's sort of how it started. I never danced, but I ended up timing it when Selleck was big. So I ended up doing like 210 talk shows. I traveled every state, got to go to Europe, got to fly in the Concorde. I got to do all kinds of things I would have never. And I grew up, only child, small town, had never seen any of this. So I'd say for 2 months, my heart didn't stop pounding.
God, that's a good story.
Yeah, but Dan did a lot of other stuff. I mean, you did the calendars. You know, you produced the calendars. Then
that was afterward. Yeah, that's how
we did a Chippendale movie together.
Yeah,
me and Dan, he produced it and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it really it's pop culture right now. I mean,
which isn't that weird?
I think it was bigger
pop culture
when we started.
I think it's bigger in our day, right, than now. I mean,
well, it is because now you talk to these kids and they have sort of heard of Chippendales, but they don't really know. But their parents know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the parents definitely
and
know.
when you sit there,
I think what's going on with the multimedia now, you can go on Instagram and see a dime a dozen now. It's not, back in our day, you had to go actually to the club and show to see the novelty of it.
There was no one else.
There was nothing.
Yeah, and the reunion,
that was amazing.
Yeah.
In Vegas.
Yeah, in Vegas. I guess it's still going on in Vegas right now. I believe they still tour too, right?
They do tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a staple in Las Vegas, and last year was the reunion where anybody that was part of Chippendales was basically invited to
Las
merge
Vegas.
On.
That was amazing at the Rio.
I think it was
Sorry,
5 years
I missed
ago,
it.
right?
It was 4 or 5 years.
I missed it too. I couldn't go.
I'm getting old.
It was amazing though,
Yeah, Dan
because I started when there was only like 20 guys, and I got there and there was like 200 guys on the stage.
Yeah.
Wow. It was amazing because we never toured.
Was this over in Culver City?
Yeah, it's now a kids.
Yeah, I know where that is. I remember.
Yeah, all you guys, because I started, as I said, in Philadelphia, then it was the Upper East Side in New York.
Yeah.
I was there for the first 4 months of the New
I
York
mostly
one.
worked on the tours than in the club.
Yeah,
But the club in L.A. where it started,
that's where it all
Was
started.
that Overland? Or?
on Overland,
Yeah,
it wasn't
Overland.
much bigger in this
Overland,
room.
that's right.
Yeah, it wasn't
that's
much bigger
right.
in this room. It was the weirdest thing because
Yeah,
it would
West
hold
LA,
about
East
180, and they put 400 in there.
The fire marshal kept on shutting
Well,
it down.
Steve Banerjee had
The whole
Fire marshals were paid off all
Banerjee
the
was a
time.
visionary, boy. He was a smart businnad.
He was, but let me tell you, everyone
Well,
says he would stand in the corner and smile. He was amazed at what happened and how fast it happened. I had dinner with him 3 nights a week. He was in shock on how unbelievable and how it took off. It was just amazing.
I have a question. What was the form of advertising to get people in there? Was just word of mouth?
Okay, it was word of mouth, but let me tell you what worked out for him. So the club kept getting sued for not letting any blacks, they pick and choose who they wanted in. And it was a minority thing. And Banerjee knew this was his thing, is that I can't let too many of certain, whatever people in. So they got sued, so they were on the news. So he wanted that. So
And
it got to the point.
good or bad.
Yeah, well, it got to the point where every Friday and Saturday night we did double shows. And then he ended up hiring this guy, Hidari Sababu, who was black, who was the front man, to say, no, there's no prejudice here. Banerjee made so much money on those nights. They would put that song Rawhide, what was it called? Rawhide?
Rawhide!
Yeah, where you and they'd open the back door and you'd stampede the women out the back door as a new group was coming in. And that was every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night.
That's really good marketing.
Oh my gosh.
That's really good marketing.
He really was.
He fell into it though. I honestly think he was. He played it right until the end.
Did he?
But he fell into it.
Did he get the name from Chippendales from the furniture?
Yeah.
Somebody told me he walked into a furniture place. Oh yeah, Chippendales the furniture.
Well, what happened was-
were Chippendales 2 squirrels?
Yes, Chip and Dale.
Yeah,
That's
no, Disney character, right? Yeah.
He bought the place as a backgammon club, and it had a Chippendale
Chippendale
piece
furniture.
in there.
Yeah,
And that's where he came up with
it's
it.
amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
No, that is amazing.
But it really came up because Dorothy Stratton's husband. That's where the idea. That's
Yeah,
where
and the
it
whole
started.
thing with we were just watching the Dorothy Stratton, it was on 2020 just recently, and they were talking about the husband of Dorothy Stratton presented the idea the bow ties for the guys because it came off the whole bunny thing.
Oh, yeah.
But Banji Queen
It's
did it.
how it's all woven into that
It's
pop
amazing.
culture
Yeah,
of
And that's where it came from. She used to come and dance, and he used to sit at the bar with Steve and talk about it. But of course, Steve never would admit that. He always said, I was in the shower one day, and I was thinking, well, how could I turn this club into something besides he had girls, mud wrestling and stuff.
Right.
And that's where he came up with, I'm going to mimic Playboy.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I didn't even think of that
Amazing.
until just now. I haven't talked to Robbie.
Oh.
He's back taking
Robbie's
us
the
in.
man.
Robbie, how did you get into this?
Oh gosh, so I was in my last semester at Temple University in 1993. It was the fall. I had just completed 2 summer sessions, and I told everyone I am not spending another winter in Philadelphia. I'm out of here. So I sold everything I had, and 2 days after cap and gown, I was on a plane to LA. So of course, I got here, didn't know anybody, and I realized I probably need a job. So I saw an advertisement. I think it was in the LA Weekly back then, Neil. Is that
Yeah,
right?
LA
LA
Weekly.
Weekly.
Wow.
So
Oh my God.
That's
I
all
went
back,
down
isn't
to
it?
a club in Century City and auditioned, and it was the most horrible audition ever and you could ever have. I think I was dancing to Peter Gunn or something. Had no idea
80s
what I
music.
was going to do. I just, you're young, you're
Yeah.
from Pennsylvania, you're a big fish in a little pond, so you think, oh, how hard could it be? It was hard. It was hard. Horrible audition, but I guess they saw something. I mean, we do need a waiter. He could probably be a waiter. So that's when I started. So this would have been the fall of '93, and of course that's where I met Neil.
And was Nick there by then? He was there. He already had his own store, didn't he?
Yeah, because I started with Denoya. Denoya actually hired me in
Never
New
met
York.
Canoyer.
And then it
Okay.
went to Stephen Merritt.
Yeah, Steve
Steve
Merritt.
Merritt
Yeah.
took over.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you talk about auditions, and you know this too, if you go on an audition for a role and you don't get the role, they sometimes find something else for you to do. Just like you're saying.
Yeah.
If you go there and you do this, you become a host, you become a waiter, you become something else.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a way, and then once you're in, you work your way into whatever you want.
Yeah. That's exactly.
Yeah, we had waiters there that at the time there was 4 or 5 of them that had over $100,000 portfolio stocks, which was a lot then. And that's all they did. They didn't want to do anything but wait tables. You didn't even want to get in their way because it was a numbers thing. They wanted to get to the counter, get back to the girl, and it was all money for them.
It was the
Absolutely.
best part-time job.
Yeah.
Like, when I first
How
moved
could
to New York and I was
Yes.
doing it, you'd work 3 hours,
Yes.
and it was a total blast.
Yeah, you had fun.
Yeah, you had fun. And
No
it was-
stress
it was
those
great
days.
money.
Because you're not in the back in the dressing room. You're greeting
Yeah.
the girls when they come in. You're seating them. They tell you their story. You're with them the whole night. By the
He
time
gets
the
all the
guys
story
come,
because he's the waiter.
oh, I know where all the bodies are buried. I know all the stories. And I got some really, really good Neil stories. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Tell us one.
Oh god.
That's a good Neil story.
Okay, this is like a PG one. Like a
Okay.
PG.
Yeah.
So it's '93. Left Pennsylvania. I'm working at the show waitering. You have all the different egos. Some of the guys a little bit cold, burned out, and then Neil was quiet. He didn't say a lot. Never said a lot. A lot of
Mom
guys
says
talk
you have to
backstage,
watch
things
out.
like
He's just got that shifty look.
So, but he was like a veteran. So one night.
I'm better.
He was the first guy that was nice to me at the show. So one night, it's after the show. Neil's got these black slacks on, blue sport coat, string tacked up, glorious head of hair drooped to one side, bandana. And he says, and to contrast, I'm wearing Levi's, a black t-shirt, and combat boots, whatever was popular back then. He's like, hey kid, you want to go out tonight? Come on kid, we'll go to Tattoo. I'm like,
That was a club in Beverly Hills those days.
there was the club in Beverly Hills. It was interesting when I was still in school in Pennsylvania. You would watch the entertainment shows, and they would focus on this club. There'd be the classic line down the block with the velvet rope, everyone dressed to the nines. The doorman wasn't the big bouncer; he was the tall Nordic European type with the tan and the glorious blonde hair. So I'm like, oh, he said, Neil's asking me to go out? Yeah, okay. So I have no idea what I'm in store for. So we go to Beverly Hills. Tattoo was on Beverly Boulevard. And I'm like, oh, where are we going to park? Whatever. So I'm following Neil. He's driving a Porsche, of course. Now, one thing you have to understand about the dancers back then, a lot of them would cross their fingers and turn the car key and hope it started. They didn't have their act together, a lot of them. Neil always Porsche, hair perfect, dressed to the nines. So he has a secret parking spot on Beverly Drive. No problem. So we're walking across the street from the parking lot. I see the front of the club. I'm thinking to myself, I see the line of people down the block, beautiful people. I see the velvet rope. I'm like, oh, how are we going to get in? Look at the line. We're crossing the street. We have not yet gotten to the other side. I see the doorman. He looks straight ahead. He sees Neil. His grin and his white teeth this wide. The velvet rope opens up. The doors fly open. And here I am just looking at him. Who the hell is this guy? Who is he? Greets us. We're in like Flynn. So that was my introduction to Hollywood and LA and the nightclub scene via Neil Danza. You know.
So you knew all the right people.
Yeah, I knew a lot of people those days because I was out 7 nights a week. There was no break.
Oh yeah.
So now you're married with children.
Yeah, married with children.
Life changes.
Now I go to sleep at 9.
Was the money good in those days?
Yeah.
Was it all tips?
Yeah, we would get whatever minimum wage was, I guess, for a host.
We didn't even
make
get the
tips.
We didn't even get that.
We got
Yeah,
no minimum wage.
well, then, if you were a server, you'd get the tips, and you'd get tipped just being a host.
But there was a lot of money made off other stuff like, the posters, the calendars, and the Polaroids. We got a percentage of that. The Polaroids really, that was good. Because,
You crushed on Polaroid.
yeah, so you get, I think at those days it was getting $2 per Polaroid, something like that.
Well, they would charge the girls $5, and then
We get $1 or $2.
So you guys did, when you guys did it, there was no tip and kits, right? Or
No, there was.
there was,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we didn't have Polaroids. We didn't have any of that stuff
Yeah.
when we started.
Oh, I got a
This
really
is the
good Neil
early
Tip and Kiss
90s.
story. You want? Can I tell him a Tip and Kiss story? It's not bad.
Kid.
So we're working at the club one night, and there's a stage, and then of course the girls at the tables, and then there was a back bar there. So if you didn't want to be in all the goings on, you'd chill at the back bar. Usually, if there was a driver or someone, he'd be back there. So there's a certain American gladiator with blonde hair. Won't mention any names. She's sitting at the back bar, and of course I recognize her because I'm a kid from Philadelphia and I watch a lot of TV. So she pulls out $100 bill. She's sitting at the bar, exactly kind of where Rick is right now. She holds it up like this. I'm like, well, who's she going to hold that up for? Neil comes over, doesn't dance for her, grabs her by her hair, tilts her hair back, plants a big one on her, and then he looks at me, pats me on the shoulder like this, and walks away, $100 bill in hand.
I can see you doing that.
Yeah.
I saw you do that the other day, too.
Somebody good at the gym.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. So that was it like they'd stuff the money down your pouch and shit like that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows.
I mean, this is what they do, right?
Chippendales.
Tip and kiss.
Yeah, but I mean, the audience doesn't know because there's people watching this who've never heard of Chippendales.
You've never heard of Chippendales?
No, well, there's those that are like 12 years old.
Might have to put a PJ Reed on this.
Were the women all ages?
All
Yeah.
ages,
Oh, yeah.
all walks of life.
Yeah.
Bachelor parties.
20 to 100.
Yeah, and to this day, there were ladies that would come into the club in New York that are still my Facebook friend.
Really?
After all these years.
Yeah, I got a couple of Facebook friends too.
that still just remember
That's
those
actually really
days.
nice.
Yeah.
No, it's really it's very special. So
What happened after hours? Do we want to get into that?
Another show,
That's
Rick.
a whole other
That's
show.
a different show.
it's like being a rock star.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
really what
It's
it's
those
like.
days.
It's the closest thing to being a
that's
rock
It's the
star.
closest
Yeah.
thing to being a rock star because when I was touring, I
Yeah.
toured all through the U.S., Australia, South Africa, and we're playing to 5, sometimes even 10,000 women a night. Huge venues, and it literally is a rock star.
Yeah.
Right.
You jump on
off the
stage
plane.
and it's just like the roar of the crowd.
best
Yeah, the
analogy.
news people
It's-
would be there off the plane, and the photographers. Yeah,
Pseudo,
I think that happens
pseudo rock starism
in any
As
business.
close as you can get, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In any business, when you're the center of attention, that happens. Even in wrestling, when I get off the ring, there'd be some waiting in the
it's the same
outside.
thing.
it's the same thing.
You know, I get
rock
maybe 8 or
bands,
9 of them.
everything.
Which one? You just pick which one, and maybe you do it, maybe not. Maybe I just leave, go have protein.
Protein shake. Protein shake.
Interesting.
Those days were metric shakes. Remember, Rick?
Yeah.
Did you ever have to ask for a date, guys? Like,
No.
And my whole time in LA, I'm married now for 20 years. I just realized, like, I never had to ask a girl out on a date. Not in a bad way. It's just like you would go to work, and show would wrap up at 10 or whenever it was, and then you'd go to the club, and then you had 250. You have a rapport. You go out to eat, go whatever, but you never ask someone out.
It's similar with with Playboy. It's like they're held to a higher regard. You're up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
It's like you want the notch in your belt, so to speak. I guess, and it's very similar. The female or the male version of Chippendales, the Playboy bunny, or the Playmate. So it's that.
Right.
Does it seem like that part of your life you guys came and went like really fast?
Like a blink.
Like a blink, right?
Like a blink.
It's just amazing how fast time goes when you're having a good time like this, and you think it's going to last forever.
You take advantage of it too.
You got to take advantage of the moment.
You certainly did.
Because
life is short.
No, you do, but when that moment's gone, you think, oh, just one more time, because it goes, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Then you're married with children, right, Neil?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a little bit of a down.
Yeah, I'm very happy right now. I don't need all those.
I'm going to go back to the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's pretty cool. It's a long time ago, and it was just a fun time for everybody, and things have changed.
Yeah, life was so much simpler.
Yeah.
Very simple, yeah.
Look at our society today.
Everything was
It's
cash
just
money those
really-
days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but things are polarized now. There's no possibility of something like that going on. What went on then now?
What, with the Me Too movement? Forget about
I'm saying,
that.
oh my
no.
God! We wanted to sue the reverse, what the women did to the guys.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it would never go. And these are celebrity women, CEOs that were back then that
Yeah.
would act the way
Yeah.
Well, you have
we
300
had no
women.
iPhones those days, so
Oh, yeah. That's right.
videos and no Instagram on any of that stuff. So nobody knew what was going on
They were pretty aggressive.
behind it.
Very aggressive. More
Yeah.
aggressive than any. If you've been
More
to any
aggressive than
topless
men.
bar,
yeah.
by far.
Wait,
Not even-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Robert was the waiter, so he's
Oh my
he's
gosh.
got the whole vision of the whole club. We couldn't because we're so busy doing our stuff.
So think about it. You have
So he knew
two or
what was
300
going
women,
on.
right?
Yeah.
They're in the club. They're all doing the same thing, and there's no one there to
They're
judge
drinking.
them. And they're
Same
drinking.
thing.
Yeah.
They would do things you wouldn't believe. If a man did 1/100th
Yeah.
of it, they'd be thrown in jail.
Really?
100%.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. They were getting away with something.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But the guys didn't really care that much. But
No,
they were. But they were. But I got to say, we did have a few guys. We had two guys way back in the beginning that were institutionalized because of that. They couldn't sleep at night because of what was going on.
Really?
Two guys that you guys would
I never
know.
heard of
Yeah,
them.
you would know these guys.
Wow.
And they went away for a week and one went away for 10 days because they just flipped out. It's weird.
Too overwhelming for them.
It was overwhelming. And it was overwhelming. It was overwhelming on how you took it, and it sort of changed your impression on girls, but you also understood them in a way. But you understood because it is, the guys and girls are different. So you understood another half, especially as a host or a waiter.
Yeah.
Because all you do is talk.
Yeah, but it's also the environment. It's the
And the
arena that you're putting these people in. I mean, it was entertainment.
Right.
It was meant for them to let their hair down
Yeah,
and get
exactly.
wild and crazy. So
Right, let it
within
out.
that environment, once it's over and you walk away, it's
You're back to reality.
You're back to reality. People are
Right.
people. So it really did fulfill I guess a need. Back when it really made its when it was in its heyday.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's nothing for
It was
women
the
like that
valve.
now.
There was
Yeah,
nothing
exactly.
No outlet like that.
There was nothing like that. Yeah.
No, it's funny because I had done a movie, a picture somewhere, as an ape with Denny Gable, Mistress of the Apes, and there were two girls that were Playboy models on there, and they worked with us, and we had these ape masks on the whole time, and they were very intrigued with the mask. They wanted us to come to their room, and,
Did you?
after the end of the show. And,
Did you?
Well, wait a minute, this is the funny thing. They were great with the masks, and then we took the mask off. Come on, Denny, it was Denny Gable. Let's go have fun. So we go to their trailer and walk in. They said, no, here we are. We don't have the mask on. I said, oh, it's nice meeting you. We're going home. They wanted the intrigue of the mask
Yeah.
because they didn't have to reveal, they didn't know who we were, so they didn't really have to reveal to us anything that they would be harmful because we don't know them. They didn't know us.
Yeah.
But once we were identified who we were, then it was not, no, okay, that's not going to work. Oh, well, things happen. So that doesn't, is it out of business now, the whole thing?
Who, Chippendales?
Yeah,
they're in Vegas.
They're in Vegas.
They've been in Vegas. They ended up getting.
Yeah, that's their main area.
That's their home.
Oh, is it
the main home.
millennials now?
Yeah, where is it? It's at the.
It's a Rio.
The Rio.
They got like 10,000. They found it.
Yeah,
They had a small showroom, and then they found 10,000 square feet up in the corner somewhere no one was using, and they rebuilt that like 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
It's a staple.
Are they all young guys doing it now?
Yeah, we were actually
Not real.
myself and Candace had gone 6-7 years ago, and I was the only guy in the audience, and it's still the same. It's still
Except there's no
totally-
kissing tips.
Yeah, that's all different.
There's no
It-
kissing tips.
And it really it evolved from that raunchy thing to really being more of a full blown production.
Oh.
With the dancers, and it's a show.
Which I think it took away from it, personally. But that's because I was only there at the beginning. At the beginning, there were 5 guys who would come out. You'd have 2 guys that couldn't dance that were behind them that come out and sort of try to dance.
Yeah,
It was the illusion.
The illusion.
Yeah.
And then the main dancer would come out, and I'd say 3 out of the 5 couldn't dance.
Yeah.
And they'd come out and do their thing, and it was very simple. The women would line up, they'd kiss and tip. It was so rudimentarily
Kiss and tip, wow.
simple that I love it. And then they started expanding it when we had a couple of choreographers came in. The original choreographer died, and it sort of threw things into a loop.
Right.
And then Merritt came in, and Denoya came in and changed it.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't all about the dancing. That was just part of it.
Well, in my day, it wasn't really about the dancing
dancing
at all.
Oh no!
Good looking Neil out there with his lovely locks out there.
Oh, I've seen the pictures. I know.
I know. Those pictures. It's funny when you go back and you look at the photos, just from the hair and just.
Yeah.
Was Corey doing that too?
Corey was in
Oh
it,
yeah, Corey.
Corey was part of the crew. Yeah.
You and Corey were like a pair almost in
Right.
the show. So there'd be all the
We were
guys,
best friends, good
and then
friends. We grew up together.
Neil and
Oh, yeah.
Corey quiet off by themselves. They
Yeah.
didn't talk a whole lot.
Right.
But somebody's phone.
It's a fire alarm.
Fire alarm.
Is that what it is?
Fun?
No.
So so hot.
Yeah, I'm smoking. I just don't want to make an ash out of myself.
Oh, bum bum bum.
All right, so let's find out, what are you doing now with your life after all this stuff going on? What are you doing?
Wow, I pursued the whole acting thing for years. Actually, just got back into it. Took a hiatus. But when I was 41 years old, I started a production design company called 41 Sets. We build and design sets for television, film, primarily commercials, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, Kentucky Fried Chicken, kind of behind the scenes. So that's kind of my main staple. Recently, in the process of creating a tequila brand, Imperial Royale. A little bit of everything, I love to dabble.
You and I are a lot alike.
Really?
Well, a lot of stuff. I have a lot of interests.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
I
nothing
mean,
wrong with
that's-
that. It's good. Keep
You
you
just,
busy.
it was fun being in front of the camera, and still is to this day.
Yeah.
But part of your life, you learn from it.
But there's more than that.
There's more to it. So
I didn't know the 41 Sets came from your age.
Yeah, I was 41 when I started.
Well, you're looking around here, I might want to redesign my set a little bit.
Well, I think we've talked about that before. This has been going on for what, 10, 15 years
Yeah,
now?
but I'd like to talk about it.
I'd love to redesign it.
Okay, good. We're going to do that. Neil, and you?
Personal trainer for the last, 20 years. And I also have an eBay store. I buy, sell, I'm a sneaker collector.
Let's talk about your shoes.
Let's talk about your shoes.
Oh
Neil.
yeah, you definitely got
Somebody's got a
shoes.
problem.
Where does he put them? Is the question.
Someone's worse than a woman.
God. Oh my God.
Worse than a
he
woman.
comes to the gym with new shoes. He wears them once.
It's
They go
my
back.
thing,
They go
you know,
back in
it's
a
just-
cellophane bag, back in the box, and they're stuck in
Well, they're
the
all collectibles. So
in his
they're worth a lot
warehouse
of
in
money.
his house. There's how many you had? 200 pair.
Over 200 pair, yeah. But I've been doing it since the late 90s. So, I buy, sell, and trade. I have an eBay store. I sell on the side, Also thinking about go back into acting, maybe commercials again, and maybe real estate. So I got a couple
Are these-
ventures maybe coming up.
Are these shoes all high heels or just those?
All high heels, yeah. I cut the heels off.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I don't know. Going back into acting, I've had some offers this past week to go do something, and I said, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't wanna do
I don't know if I even
auditions.
have the time anymore.
It takes time. I
really does
really
take
want to go
time.
on a set at 6 in the morning until
Yeah.
6 at night.
That's
No.
the thing.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't be able to do this. And driving to auditions over in Ocean Park from here on the 405,
That's a full day.
that's a full
yeah,
day.
I mean, I
That's a
don't
full
have,
day.
and the freeways are pretty jacked up these days.
Well, boy.
Yeah,
Takes forever.
come in here even.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Especially with the fires,
Where'd
too.
you
It's
come
making
from?
it even worse.
So it was 20 miles. It took me an hour and 10.
Yeah, I
The
come
one
from
what's
Valencia.
open?
It's all open, yeah. But it took me
Yeah.
side streets off of Tampa all the way to here. I don't know why.
I've done that too.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Dan? What are you doing with yourself?
I'm a photographer. So I turned into a photographer right after. In fact, that's how I sort of got booted out of with Banerjee, because I started a calendar, and he was saying, "Go ahead and do it."
They had the best calendars.
Well,
Best back in those days.
I remember those calendars
Yeah,
too.
Skin
actually.
Deep.
Yeah, Skin
Skin
Deep.
Deep.
Yeah, I remember those.
yeah,
They were
yeah,
great.
yeah.
So
had
that
great
did great
calendars.
for a handful of years, but we
Phenomenal.
ended up competing with Banerjee, and he even said, "Go ahead and do it." And then when we outsold him in California, which is one area, he changed his tune. So at one point, when he set
Trying
up
to
these
kill you?
hits, he set up a hit on us where they shot at us at the beach at Marina Del Rey. They put a hit out on Reed.
Yeah, Reed Scott. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
this
MC.
is-
The
yeah.
MC from
Vegas now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was way back then, because Banerjee,
Right.
he basically gave me everything. I mean, he paid for acting classes and rent and car.
Wow.
Yeah, I was lucky back then. I mean, but mine was just a timing thing. But I've been a photographer ever since. In fact,
Yeah.
shot the new Chippendales. I shot 3 or 4 of their calendars. I do mostly catalog work, but
That's awesome.
yeah, they called me in and I went to Vegas, and it was great.
That's really awesome. And Robbie?
Well, I quit acting around 1999,
Yeah.
and then literally within 4 months I was married, and my life.
Where did you meet her?
Where did I meet her? Oh, you'll like this. Or Rick might enjoy this. 1999, I just got back from the Cannes Film Festival. The morning I got back, usually I would have slept in, but for some reason, because of the time change, I'm up. I have a best friend, Dan Freeman, was a bodybuilder. He was flying into town that morning to audition for a show called on NBC called Battle Dome, which is like American Gladiators.
Yeah,
Never.
And then Michael Hearn there.
Oh yeah.
So normally I'd be asleep. He'd come do his auditions, and we'd meet up for dinner. I was awake. I'm like, yeah, I'll tag along. So I was just sitting outside. It was at a boxing gym on like 3rd Street, kind of like, what is it, Hollywood or south of Hollywood, let's say. And they have chairs set up outside. I'm just sitting out there, and this beautiful blonde, most beautiful blonde I'd ever seen, comes walking in, amazing physique. She had the most amazing calves I've ever seen. So I looked right down at her calves. So she went and auditioned, sat down outside, and I had my Ponch sunglasses, or my Neil Danza sunglasses on. And I'm just staring at her, and it turns out that my friend Dan had known her, and Karen McDougal was there, Playmate of the Year.
Karen, I used to shoot Karen.
She had auditioned for there, so we all went to lunch right afterwards, and that's how I met my wife. My wife got the show. I was just tagging along, so she was on Battle Dome in the
got it.
'99
Good
season.
for her.
She was
Cool. Wow, that's a great
Angel
story.
on Battle Dome.
That's a great story.
But my life changed like that. So married 4 or 5 months later, and then I've been a mortgage broker since then. America Capital Funding. Before the crash, we were licensed in 21 states. But like I said, living the quiet life with Neil in Santa Clarita.
Right.
2 kids,
Oh,
Connor and
yes.
Ethan. Yeah. So
Fond memories.
That's a big change, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
90
fond
day.
memories.
night and day. Yeah.
Do your spouses ever question what you did back in the day?
Mine never brings it up.
Nope.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to talk about it?
Mine either.
Well, let me tell you about. It's funny. Every time I run into, we keep running into each other after church on Sundays when we're going out to eat because we like the California Fish Grill because
Yeah.
it's healthy.
the best.
So every time I run into Neil, nice to see him, and
It's just the memories.
The memories come back.
back.
I don't think the women appreciate it though.
man.
You guys just look at each other and you go,
Hey.
yeah, you know.
Oh, first time I met Neil's wife, I told her this. I said, you're one step ahead of Lois Lane. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you're married to Superman and you know who he is.
That's really good. It's good stories. But if you had to do it all over, would you do it the same way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would change it up a bit.
Would you?
Yeah.
Well, mine was a little bit different too because I didn't feel comfortable there. So like you were talking about looking back, what, did you enjoy it or whatever? I did, but I didn't take advantage of what I should have because I was always standing back saying, I want to become the real actor. And I didn't want to be stereotyped in, as a Chippendales guy, which I was. So I would have done it a little different, but life has turned out great. I mean, you think about it, it's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
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 Damn.
40 years ago.
And all the guys that I know from Chippendales, I mean, a huge percentage of them, all successful.
Yes.
when I saw these guys up there at the club, and some of the guys were 70 years old, I have never seen guys that were built at 60 and 70 the way these guys are.
Yeah.
It's amazing they've carried it on all those years.
Yeah,
It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
One name, Roger Manash.
No, Raj, yeah.
Looking great, Roger.
Look at Rick here. How old are you, Rick?
75.
75.
Yeah.
Still in the
Every
gym,
day at the
every
gym.
single day.
Every day.
And God bless him.
Yeah.
That's I hope at
Positive
75,
energy.
I'm still breathing this air, let alone getting in there and working out.
I think I'm going to make it to 80. I think so.
You think?
I hope so. Yeah.
You will.
I'll still be training. Do you remember Moore? He used to come to the gym. He
Yeah.
was like 95.
Yeah.
He used to always flex his tricep for me.
Yeah.
He had at 95 years old, this guy had a big tricep. Then he died.
Oh.
But he was there every
flexed it
day,
way too many
95
times.
years old. No, he had asbestos poisoning in his lungs from working in a factory.
Oh, wow.
But other than that, he was fine. He just worked out hard. He was there. Nice guy. He looked like Seymour from Channel 9. Remember? The host of all the horror films? Seymour. There was Elvira, then there was Seymour.
I don't remember Elvira. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Now I'm really dating myself. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming and sharing your stories. I think this is really interesting, and you guys all still work out, obviously, and stay in shape, which my audience does. And it just goes to prove that if you want to do something in your life, you can do it if you really want it bad enough, and you can continue. And when you're done with that, you can continue, keep going to something else, and let that be your stepping stone on to other things in life, because one thing leads to another, to another, to another, to another. Just don't give up and stop, right?
Well said.
100%.
Yeah, that just came right out of my brain so quick.
Very good.
All right, guys, thank you. And thank you guys for watching Rick's
Thank
Corner.
you.
Really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Love this man.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Okay. You want to come over here and take a picture of me?
Oh, yeah, I
Just let
forgot.
it run for a second.
Okay.
Then I can.
Like going down.
Then
I was
I
going to put
can,
you in the middle.
I can do a still shot
I'm
off.
short though.
It's a little short on cash.
Hold on, how's this?
Hope you enjoyed the video brought to you by Old School Labs. Use my discount code DRASIN12 on the link below at oldschoollabs.com. Hey everyone, now you can have the Gold's Gym logo drawn by me, the artist Rick Drasin. Personalized and made out to you and signed by me to frame and put on your gym wall or wherever you see fit to do so. It's a piece of bodybuilding history. It will never be duplicated again. It's the largest selling icon t-shirt logo in the world. And I'm the guy that drew it, and I will draw it for you. Just go to my website, rickdrasin.com, and order there. You can pay through PayPal, and it'll be sent out right away. And be sure to watch Rick's Corner for all the videos on bodybuilding, nutrition, fitness, pro wrestling, and anything that suits your interests as far as getting physically fit and being the best you can be from the golden era of bodybuilding.
It's Rick Drasin. He's the equalizer, baby. See you next time.